run you guys through a really easy hamstring stretch that you can do. You can do these if you need to do them while you're sitting at your desk or just at home. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of different ways that we can stretch our hamstrings. This is the best one that I have found because we can modify in a lot of ways for where we're at, whether we're really advanced in what we do or it's a matter of that we have balance issues and so we can't really get on and off the floor very easily or whatever it is. This is going to help meet you kind of where you're at. So what you want to do is you're always going to have your stabilizing leg. So in this instance, this is going to be my right side. It's going to be the stabilizing leg. So I'm going to have that stay here. We're going to straighten this leg out. So and point that toe up towards the ceiling. Sometimes if you're doing this, you're going to already start feeling that stretch on the back of your hamstring. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's where you want to stay at, but if you're feeling that stretch there, then you need to make sure that you're doing this very often. My recommendation would be to do this once a day, but we may recommend that you do it more often than that, just depending on where you're at. So we're going to start with that, so toe up. And then what a lot of people do, or I see people doing these, is they then round their back. So they round that back and they try to go down and touch their toe and they're like, oh, great, I can touch my toe. Well, what happens with that is it takes away from that hamstring stretch. So what we want to do is make sure that we keep our back straight and we're going to pivot at our hip. So what we're going to do is bend forward at the hip there. You see the difference in bending like this and keeping that back straight? That is going to stretch on that hamstring and make that a deeper stretch. And what you're going to do is actually reach past your foot. So I'm actually reaching over there to the other side of the room to get that deeper stretch in there. So what you're going to do, and we're going to do it on both sides, you're just going to switch, go to the other side, same thing. That back is straight. We're not bending like this. We're reaching past our foot. And what you're going to do is you want to set a timer on your watch, on your smartwatch, on your phone, whatever that is, and you're going to hold each side for 90 seconds. So I'll go ahead and give you some time. Go ahead and do that. So a few other ones that we're going to do here. One, a lot of people when we lay on our back, because we end up with this arch in our back, we end up with low back pain when we're laying down. So you always want to, when you lay down, is make sure you put a bend in the knee here, which is going to be the position we're going to stay in for these. And I'm doing this on this table here. You can do this on the floor. I also tell patients that you can do this while you're in bed before you get up in the morning, and it's going to help stretch out the low back, stretch out the glutes, and really this whole lower body here. So what we're going to do is just start with pulling this knee in towards our chest. If we are not flexible enough to do that, grab a towel. You can wrap that around where I'm wrapping my hands at, and then you can use the towel for that leverage. But I'm going to use my hands here, and what we're going to do is start with just pulling that knee in towards the chest. And you're going to hold this each side for 90 seconds. And you should feel that in the hip flexors, the low back. You'll probably feel some stretching in there, but should get that whole posterior side. And after you've held that for 90 seconds, you're going to switch. And you're going to do the other side and pull that in like you're hugging that towards your chest. And again, 90 seconds. Don't forget to breathe while you're in these. You should be able to breathe. We're not working on cardio with these. And then you've probably heard of a figure 4. If you haven't, this is what it is. And the reason it's called that is because it looks like a 4 when you do it. But you're going to bend your leg up. You're going to hold this here. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to push that knee outward. And again, you're holding these for 90 seconds. If you're not feeling a stretch with this, there's a more advanced one you can do. So again, I'm pushing that knee this direction. So away from my body and down to get a stretch in here. If you're not feeling it there, you can do a more advanced where you actually bring this up and then push that out there. That's going to get really deep into those glutes. So make sure where you're feeling it at, that you're holding that for 90 seconds. That's where you're going to get the best lengthening of those muscles. While we're still in this position, we're going to do some glute bridges. So we're going to activate the glutes. So we want to make sure with this that we're not extending our back like this. So that's going to put way too much pressure on that lumbar spine. It's unnecessary. So we want to try to keep the back flat here. So we're tucking that pelvis under. If you've watched our pelvic floor video, then you know how to do this. If you don't, stop the video, go watch our pelvic floor video, and it's going to help to show you how to activate that and how to make sure that you're breathing into that pelvic floor properly. And what we're going to do, legs are going to be bent and then the feet are going to be flat. And what we're going to do is raise our pelvis up in the air. So sometimes if our feet are too close together, we're not going to have the stability. So make sure that you place those feet about shoulder width apart there. And then what you're going to do, you can stabilize with your arms here. If you want to make it a little bit more advanced, you can put your arms in the air. I'm going to put my arms here just for the process of showing you guys how to do this. And what we're gonna do is just raise that up in the air. And again, you wanna try to hold this for 90 seconds. In the beginning, you're probably gonna start having your hamstrings start cramping up. You may start feeling that in the glutes and we can't get to 90 seconds. Our goal is 90 seconds with this. We're not trying to build muscle, we're trying to stretch and to strengthen some things with this and to activate that pelvic floor. So again, we're just bringing that up in the air and then dropping that back down with the goal of getting to 90 seconds with that. We're gonna work on this quad stretch. So you can do this laying down. I'll show you that in just a second. But it's very easy to do it while we're up, we're moving around, we're busy throughout the day, we're doing stuff in the kitchen, we're doing yard work, whatever that is. I would always recommend you've got something to hold on to here. I mean, even the best of us lose balance from time to time. And so what we're doing with this one is we're stretching the front of our leg. So again, if you don't have the mobility to be able to grab your foot, get a towel. You can wrap that around your ankle and then use the towel to pull it up right here. But what we're gonna try to do is get here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this up and then we're gonna hold this right here. And again, we wanna hold it for 90 seconds. We wanna make sure we're not doing is hyperextending like this. We're holding it down here like this to the side. That's not gonna get that stretch. You want to keep your knees together here. Pull this in to where hopefully it's touching right there on your glutes. And it should be, I mean, you can be active and get it a little bit further, but pretty much if your arm is straight, you're holding that and you're squeezing it at the knees here, you should be feeling a really good stretch on the on your quads here in the front. So again, you want to hold this for 90 seconds. So do that and make sure you're doing it on both sides. One side's probably going to be easier to do compared to the other. Okay, so this is the modified for the standing quad stretch here. Make sure, I don't have the best pillow in here, but make sure you've got good support on your head and neck. We're not trying to work our neck at this point, we're really trying to stretch. So I would make sure this bottom leg is bent. That's gonna give you stability so you're not going back and forth. Again, if you need to put a towel around your ankle because we don't have the mobility, that's fine. But you wanna be able to grab your foot here and then pull that in and hold that there at the hamstring. And you can move that bottom leg around wherever is going to feel the most comfortable for you to have that balance. But we want to keep those knees together and make sure that we're pulling that in towards the glutes. And we should feel, again, a stretch on the front of our thigh and